What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. I am at the project site today here in Gaston, and I am doing a full chop and drop of the entire farm. This is all part of our scheduled spring maintenance as we prepare for spring going into summer. Part of that is also the entire vegetable garden here has been kind of cleaned out as things slowly go in. They've added a border of comfrey around here to work as a bit of a rhizome barrier to kind of keep some of the weeds from creeping in. And then there's still some things that are hanging out from winter, like onion and garlic sets. But my job today, garden fans, is to chop and drop this entire food forest. So I want to give you a quick before and then an after. My main goal is really to kind of clean up a lot of the nitrogen fixing shrubs. A lot of the Elaeagnus multifloria starting to take over a little bit. Now that we are out of the coldest of the weather, I want to chop these down and get a little more sunlight for the pawpaws here. And then just chop and drop all the other nitrogen fixing shrubs to make a little light come in for all the other trees and shrubs out here. I'm going to give you a quick before and after once again. There's a lot of scrub brush growing that I want to clean up. Want to clean up the elderberry hedge here. Looking thick, looking dense. Things are looking really good out here right now, garden fans. As always, they always do. Once we've got this place set up, Mother Nature is kind of doing her part. Another goal I have is to kind of raise the canopy on quite a few of these trees. They're getting taller, they're getting a little more mature. So it's time to start kind of lifting the canopy or cleaning up some of the underside to make way for people to kind of walk around here. We've got a loquat here, loquat looking really good, putting on a bunch of green new growth. So really quick look about, just gonna walk about here really quick, show you how it looks right now. And then my plans, I'm gonna kind of walk around here for about an hour or two, chopping and dropping. I'm actually a little late to the party. I kind of like to do this in February or late March. So I am a little late to the party. Here's another nitrogen fixer that's hanging on to a pecan tree right here. This is the first year that this pecan tree has kind of catkinned out. And this might be the first year since its planting that it actually puts on some nuts. So we will see this year. We got a great ground cover growing of vetch and clover. I might chop and drop a little bit of that stuff. However, a lot of the clover is flowering and I like to leave that stuff, the red clover, I like to leave that for the bees. So a lot of the wild field meadow look right now is going to kind of stay the same. But let me go ahead and walk back down to the bottom of the hill. I'll show you the tools that I'm going to use to clear this area. Real simple hand and electric tools. And one guy, me, is going to come through here. I'm going to put about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of work in, and the entire place is going to look much different. Here's another little bit of scrub brush that kind of needs to come down. I might raise the canopy a little bit here on the jujube trees. Might raise the canopy a little bit here on the persimmons. Here again, as these trees get taller, another bit of scrub brush here that needs to kind of get trimmed down. Yeah, as the canopy, as the trees continue to get taller, I want to keep kind of raising them up so that we got walking areas. So here we got a swale that really just needs to be kind of cleaned out, and then the figs and blueberries on either side need to be kind of basically make a walkway here for tours to happen. Anyway, garden fans, so let me show you what I usually use. So for a site this big, about 1/3 of an acre on a hillside, here are the hand tools I'm using, hand and electric. Pruning shears, a hedge trimmer, and then a small chainsaw. That's it. With these 3 tools and about an hour and a half, 2 hours of manpower, this place is going to look completely different. So here's the before. Stick around, let me get you the after. All right, garden fans, after about an hour and a half, 2 hours of work, here we are, chop and drop, about halfway done out here. I ran until I ran out of batteries, but hopefully you can already kind of see what's going on here. We're kind of opening up, providing some light and space for this emergent pawpaw patch that is coming up. Just about all of the autumn olive I have cut down, and as always I cut them down to about 6 or 7 feet tall. about 4 feet wide. I am very aggressive with the pruning on these things, as you can see. I almost treat them as a coppice plant. All of the green material, the chop and drop material, becomes mulch for the nearby pawpaws and the figs behind them. But now you can probably see what I got going on here. I'm just letting a little more light, now that we're out of our winter time, a little more space and a little more light for the pawpaw patch here at the bottom of the hill to start to spread. And it's going to do great, once again, providing some light and space for the figs as well that are on the uphill side. They are planted on the swale mound, and you can probably already see how the swale, the ditch here, is a little more cleaned up, a little more favorable, a little more friendly for foot traffic to kind of come on through and harvest the blueberries that are slowly coming on right now. The autumn olive, these are just a chop and drop plant. Yes, they provide food for me, but over the next couple years, eventually these are going to get chopped all the way down, and we're going to be left with this hedge of fig trees on the mound. And then on the downhill side, acting as a windbreak, we're going to have these pawpaw trees. So just kind of working over 3 dimensions. What I've also done is kind of bring up the canopy some. Took out a lot of the small branches. And once again, I pruned very aggressively out here. It helps these plants produce more. But kind of providing myself some walkways through the food forest by raising the canopy. And here again, all that chop and drop becomes mulch, a mulch layer for the swale patties. Here is another swale mound I'm jumping over, and then the swale itself. Here again, starting to take some shape. And once again, here we are getting our walkways, our pathways back through all these trees, providing a place for airflow to come through, kind of preventing some disease, some mold, some mildew. Definitely want air to pass through. Definitely want space overhead so that, you know, as you're walking through this food forest, you're not smashing your head on any plants. A lot of chop and drop out here, and that's going to provide some mulch for the spring ground cover, which is a lot of yarrow. We have a lot of mint out here, and there's a lot of bee balm hanging out. Here's some bee balm. So as I'm kind of dropping down some of the grasses and the scrub brush, these annual, semi-annual ground covers are going to be coming up in its place. So currently, right now, not a whole lot of things fruiting. Jujube, pomegranate, persimmon. I've raised the canopy a little bit, provide a little space underneath. Same thing with that patch of Chickasaw plums. We've raised the canopy a little bit. Same story here, just about kind of raising the canopy on all of these trees to provide some space for airflow. Pomegranates, haven't touched them. Here we have a hedge of pineapple guava. We got a casualty this year, a cherry tree, which I'm not too upset about, and I figured that was going to come at some point. So at some point during this year, this cherry tree just needs to get chopped all the way down, ground down to the stump, and we'll plant something fresh in its place. Possibly a nut tree of some sort. The pecans that we have growing out here are doing really good. Here, still got a lot of scrub brush to kind of clean out here. So I ran until I ran out of batteries, and not quite done yet. Of course, I'll be back next week chopping and dropping some more. Here we have a hazelburt patch next to a pomegranate. Hazelburts have catkind and have set fruit, so we will have hazelnuts. We usually get a good spring and fall flush on these hazelburts. Here's another hedge of hazelburts interspersed with another pomegranate. And then the main nut is this Chinese chestnut I'm about to walk under. This thing is going to be huge, and it's going to last a good 60 to 70 years. Definitely going to outlive me. My kids, my grandkids will climb this tree one day. So I'm kind of making sure that they're going to have the opportunity to do that by, once again, raising the canopy, creating some space underneath for airflow to get through. Still have a nitrogen fixing Elaeagnus right here that needs to get chopped and dropped. But really, as you look up, really starting to look like a food forest out here. We got an overstory of trees, an understory of fruit trees, an overstory of nut trees, and things are really starting to come together, really starting to look like a food forest here. Kind of coming out of its childhood and into adolescence, moving on about 8 to 9 years old. So definitely fun to come out here, garden fans. This is a great project site. The agriculture and art tour is at the end of May of this year. So this place, by the end of May, will have been mowed, chop and dropped, and wood chipped over, and looking pretty good for tours. Once again, this Chinese chestnut is just getting really large. Huge tree, and it's already starting to put bunches of nuts up at the top of the tree right now. So beautiful food forest, garden fans. It's really developing and coming into its own. Takes a little bit of maintenance every year to manage something like this. Once again, I was out here for a couple hours today. I'll probably be out for a couple hours next week, and by that point all the scrub brush and all the trees will have been pruned and the canopies lifted to make way for people to walk around and walk through. Let me get another step back, give you a broad look at the place, and as I step back, you're going to see this emergent meadow kind of running into a thick, mature forest of fruits and nuts, and everything is living in this beautiful symbiosis. Plum tree, mulberry trees, another mulberry. Here's another mulberry. We got a big mulberry patch out here. They're starting to set fruit. These guys won't be ready for another month or so. But this is it. Production on. Here we go, garden fans. The fruits are coming on. The nuts are starting to develop. And we got an old husk here from last year. An old Chinese chestnut husk from last year. Nuts have already dropped, but these guys are going to catkin out and produce more nuts this year. I do believe that our pecans are also going to start producing this year for the first time since we started. So basically everything is now producing. All the nuts, all the fruits, everything should be producing at this point in the game. By all means, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. That's what really helps us out, and you'll be able to follow along and see the fruits of about 8 years of labor out here as it comes into full production. Appreciate y'all watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. God bless, folks. See you next week.